Welcome, everyone. Noah here on the Dynamics Weekly newsletter and podcast. This is a special series of podcasts about Dynamic Communities Community Summit, which is scheduled for October 19th through the 23rd in Orlando, Florida. And here it is, the 10th of July. Summertime is already well underway, and it is blazing hot down here, but we are getting ready for October to get here soon enough. And if you have not had a chance to register for Summit or check out all the details about Summit, go to the website, SummitNA.com. There are a ton of sessions that are covering all the different topics or products that Microsoft has rolled out for Dynamics, and a lot of presenters doing these sessions. So a lot of knowledge is going to be shared in all these sessions at that time in Orlando. We'll be talking with Academy class and session presenters leading up to the conference. And today on our 29th interview, we have Lenore Flower with us. Lenore, how are you doing?
I'm so great. How about you?
I'm doing well. You and I first did a podcast just like 2 months ago for Dynamics Con, and now you're back again for Summit. It's awesome.
I am indeed. Thank you. This will be my
Yeah.
third year doing Community Summit NA. Last year I did an Academy session. This year I'm putting my feet up a bit and I'm just doing sessions the more standard way. And I've got 3 all happening on Monday, October
You
20th,
do. You're
which
going to be
means,
busy.
well, it means by Tuesday I get to just relax and have fun and learn from everybody else. So I don't mind it too much. But I think
That's
it's going to be a
awesome.
really
Yeah,
fun day. Yeah.
good.
So, do you want me to just sort of walk through what I'll be talking about?
Well, hey, a lot of people, even though you're out there on LinkedIn, your website and everything, and a lot of your
Oh, right.
podcasts out there,
I
a lot
should
of the
mention
audience
who I
doesn't
am.
really know you yet. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
talk about you for a little bit. So
sure.
your company is Data Plumber,
Mhm.
and you want to tell us a little bit of how you got it started, how long you've been doing that, what you focus on?
Absolutely. So, Data Plumber LLC is named partially in honor of my mentor who passed away a few years ago, who gave me that critical definition of you're a data plumber, which means you are going to focus on making sure that all the things that everybody else doesn't care about so much work as they intend. Just like when you're building a house, if you're a homeowner, you don't care about how the individual plumbing works in the walls, as long as when you turn that dial to hot, it goes hot, and cold, it goes cold. And that was his whole philosophy. And he really helped me hone that sort of approach to working on with both the business side and with the techies. There's a wonderful extension of that metaphor, which is while nobody cares about what's going on with the plumbing when things are going well, gosh, we all care a whole lot about the plumbing when things are going wrong. And it can be both embarrassing and expensive. So I really focus in my business on small to medium sized businesses that have really big data ambitions, but a more modest staff capacity. So I work with them to both build up their data teams and make sure that they have systems in place to make sure they can do more with fewer people while still meeting those goals. That's what I do.
Awesome. And you cover a variety of products that help
I
you do
do.
all this.
Yeah, I find that the most under represented areas are the ones in between. So I really like to
Mhm.
emphasize understanding not only uh, Power BI, which is my home base, and Fabric and data warehousing principles, but knowing enough about the different D365 products, particularly the elements of those D365 products that touch on data. So I can work effectively with developers as well as solution architects. Because my experience has been if you don't have enough of that overlap in place, you end up with a lot that falls through the cracks. So I've really
Mhm.
made a focus and an emphasis on knowing enough about those overlapping needs and sharing that with others, which is a lot of fun for me.
Awesome. Well, you do have a lot of other stuff I want to dive into as well. But how about we talk about your sessions, the 3 you have coming? We'll just run through those, and then we can
Sure,
jump back and talk about the other things that you're doing lately.
sure.
Okay.
So
So
I
the
will
first
be.
on the list, all these are Monday. Yeah, you can go ahead.
So yeah, I'll be starting with D365 Data 101. which is really based on the experience I had last year with 3 people talking about data in D365 and all of us meaning 3 different D365 applications. One person was talking about Business Central, one person was talking about CE, and I was talking about F&O. And we all went into the meeting saying, oh yeah, I know D365. And the big thing that came out of that conversation, which is really the basis of this presentation, is there's a lot of fundamental differences underneath the D365 applications in terms of how the data is structured, how it's stored, that isn't really obvious when you've only worked with one of the tools or you haven't worked deeply with more than one tool at a time. And of course, there are plenty of organizations these days that use both D365 F&O and D365 CE together. But you run into a lot of challenges if you don't realize that where the data is stored for D365 CE over in Dataverse is fundamentally different from where the data is going to be stored and maintained for D365 F&O, which is a different data model with different structures. So it's an hour-long trip through those different families of underlying data, and it covers all of the D365 applications by grouping them into 3 separate families of how that data works. I've done this session a few times. I have a great time with it. And I think it's really helped people to pave the way towards having fewer misunderstandings. At least I hope it has. So I'm very excited about that one.
So that's a breakout session, aiming for 60 minutes for that one. That is bright and early Monday.
Yep, but it's not an 8 a.m. session, which I've done. And I'm always incredibly impressed with the people who show up at 8 a.m. So still bring your coffee, but do show up. I think it's going to be a great time.
As a session category, 365 CE, CRM, and SCM. What is this last one? SCM.
Right, supply chain management.
Supply chain management.
So yeah, supply chain management fits with the D365 F&O family of data. So there's a big going to Thanksgiving metaphor in the session where it makes more sense. But these underlying groups are grouped together for a reason. It has to do with how the data is structured and lives together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So that is gonna be a busy hour for you. Fill up that morning slot there. You do
Yeah.
have your lunch break, and then you have 2 sessions that afternoon. The next one is at Demystifying Power BI and Fabric Security, a practical guide to protecting your data.
Yeah.
Just right after lunch, 1:30.
Yes, and I'm doing this with my friend Q, who is a tech fluent graduate. She will be doing her first sessions this year at Community Summit NA, and we're actually doing both sessions in the afternoon together. So I'm really excited to help her jump into her first experiences speaking at Community Summit NA. And we're working right now to kind of go all the way through with the different variations and flavors of security to create a really nice survey and review of the different options and when you use each. Because one of the biggest challenges I think that comes up when you're working with Power BI, and then of course when you extend into Fabric as well, is that you need to be able to understand how these different components overlap and integrate, as well as when you need to use one over the other. A really common source of confusion, for example, is when you have perspectives, where you have different ways for different teams to view the data in a semantic model in Power BI. People will often expect that just because you're queued up to see data in a particular way, say if you have a marketing perspective, that the marketing team won't be able to see other data as well. And that's just not true.
Mhm.
So working through those in a way that is end user friendly as well as Power BI developer friendly, and really making sure that folks are able to see layer by layer how these things fit together, as well as when you apply them, I think is going to help a lot of folks. And I'm really excited to do that with her.
And I see the primary product, Microsoft Fabric, primary track, business intelligence and reporting, as well as tracks for data and development and architecture.
Oh yeah, the whole enchilada.
So Q's first presentation, has she been to Summit before though?
Yes. So Q was
Okay.
there last year as part of the TechFluent group. Are you familiar with TechFluent, Noah?
I am not.
Ooh, can I tell you a little bit about it?
I love to hear it. Yes.
Fantastic. So, TechFluent is an amazing organization that helps folks in under-resourced communities find their paths in areas of Microsoft technology. They've got a track for Power BI, they've got tracks for D365, and they use volunteer teachers from across the community, of which I am one, to help these individuals work towards getting certifications and work towards getting placements in the tech community so that we can be more diverse and more robust. I really love their initiatives, and I know they're always looking for volunteers. For anyone who's listening, do check
Hmm.
out TechFluent Academy. They do some really great work. And if you're going to be at Community Summit NA, you'll probably see some fabulous new TechFluent scholars who just got into the program a few months ago. So please make sure you make them feel welcome and say hello.
Great.
Anyway,
We'll put
Q is
that
one of
in
them.
the
Yeah,
description and comments too.
that'd be great. Yeah.
And then wrapping up your afternoon, you have the third session, the good, the bad, and the ugly DAX edition at
I'm so
three
happy
o'clock.
I got away with that title. So, so the good, the bad, and the ugly DAX edition is another one I'll be doing with Q. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the can versus shoulds when it comes to DAX. In other words, there's a lot of ways that you can use DAX that will work in different scenarios, but don't scale well. A big example is using an if statement. So we're going to go through and look at different ways that you can address common uh, needs when you're building out DAX measures, when you're thinking through the overall structure of your semantic model and making sure things calculate correctly, and showing some
Mhm.
examples of here's when things can work better, here's when where things will scale horribly, and here are some horror stories from our own experience about how these can kind of explode in your face when you're not careful. So it's going to be about best practices. We're going to try to make people giggle a little bit, and hopefully everyone, whether they're newer to DAX or could benefit from a bit of a review, will be able to take something from the session. And that's going to be a quick one. It'll be about 30 minutes.
So I see it's from 3 o'clock until 3:25
Yep.
on the schedule here. It's listed as a fast chat, which I don't know that I have set in on a fast chat. I've done the deep dives, I've done the breakout sessions and the
Yeah.
classes. I've done roundtables, which may be a kind of what this is.
Yeah. So fast chats are, the energy is fundamentally different in my experience. So you're going to be, uh, the way that I've done it anyway is I try to do it in a way that's high energy, that's really big bang for the buck in terms of the information that you take away. But it's a great
Hmm.
way to focus on something that, um, if you talked about it for a full hour, you kind of be dragging things out.
Uh-huh.
Um, and for that reason, I think it's really nice for those instances where you're starting to feel a little bit fried. So if you've gone to a bunch of presentations all day on Monday and you're like, I don't think I can do another deep dive, a fast chat is a great way to learn something in an accessible way that isn't going to be so deep that your brain's going to start melting out your ears a bit. I like
Gotcha.
them a lot.
Awesome. So Q is doing both those sessions in the afternoon
Yeah.
with you. Has she got other sessions as well?
So she has a really exciting new
Okay.
addition, and you can see right there, she is going to be doing a lightning talk at the Women in Tech Luncheon. And I'm
Okay.
really looking forward to cheering her on in the audience for that. That's something that I think was just announced, and I think it's a really big deal for everyone who's a fan of Q. I think we're going to be very excited to be in the audience cheering her on, but also I think she's got a lot to offer in her session. So I'm looking forward to that lightning talk as well.
Awesome. So yeah, I see her listed there, and I'll probably have her on a
Oh, you
podcast
should,
interview in the
absolutely.
next week or so if I can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So three great sessions. You are kicking off the week there with everybody. So you are going to be busy that first day, and then just soaking up everybody else's sessions the rest of that week there.
And then hopefully hanging out at the Tech Medic desk as much as I can get away with. That's my favorite part
Hmm.
of Community Summit NA every year. I have a great time with that, and I highly recommend, especially to folks that haven't gone to the Tech Medic desk before, to give it a
Hmm.
try. It's a great way to learn more and to hang around people that are as excited about this technology as we are.
So for Data Plumber, you're not going to be in the expo hall, right? So there's no booth for
Mm-mm.
Data Plumber there.
Nope, I'll be around though. Um,
Okay.
look for bright purple hair. I stick out.
Okay.
Um,
Awesome. And if people want to get in touch with you before Summit or after your sessions or schedule some time with you at the Tech Medic desk, what's your preferred method for them to contact you?
Folks are always very welcome to reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm very active there. I have a new LinkedIn page for Data Plumber, which I would be thrilled if you followed, and you can get in contact with me that way. And I will, of
Okay.
course, be at several of the events that are more regional, like the M365 days in New York City, and like the Community Summit Roadshow that will be coming up in August in Nashville, Tennessee. So I've always loved to just chat with people in the hallway at those events. Please don't ever hesitate. I think that's the
Hmm.
best part. But yeah,
You are quite the traveler.
I'm having a lot of fun this year.
That's good. It's awesome. I
Yeah.
love traveling and meeting people, new people, and seeing familiar faces. So, what was one in New York going to be about?
Yeah, so the M365 Days event, which is happening on July 25th in Times Square, is on my new favorite topic. It's a session called Mastering the BI Mullet, which is about managed self-service BI. I've seen a lot of situations where folks have been quote unquote bought business intelligence. In other words, they get some tools, they get some licenses, but they're not given the structure that allows that to take advantage of all the knowledge institutionally and all the potential the data has. And what
Hmm.
that leaves off is a lot of data governance issues, a lot of repetitive work, a lot of people who are confused and frustrated, and a lot of risk. So, managed self service combines the two. Instead of having a huge enterprise team that is focused on making the data and then giving business users the end products of reports, a managed self service approach allows companies to have a much smaller team focused on BI tools. And if you're strategic about it, it's a wonderful opportunity to really set up everyone for success by having things like Power BI themes, like having a golden semantic model where all of that really challenging work is done for you when it comes to data modeling, when it comes to DAX, so that the business users can focus on adding in the uh, knowledge that they know best, can really focus on using the data in interesting ways and ensure that they're able to build things that meet their needs. So that's the BI mullet, and I talk about some strategies that you can do that to keep budgets as cheap as possible while also getting taking advantage of those opportunities. Anyway,
So
yeah.
so your new website, will you be? I didn't see that listed, but we'll put the link
Oh,
to that in
I'm
the
a I'm
bio.
a I'm a teensy bit behind on getting those updated, but yes, I will be updating that soon, and I'm happy to share a link so that you can include it if you'd like.
Yep,
So yeah,
that'd be awesome. And it's on Times Square, huh? One of the high rises there.
yeah, it'll be at the Microsoft office in Times Square, which
Okay,
is a
awesome.
fabulous opportunity for me to spend some time in New York City, which I don't
Uh-huh.
hate either.
And you are co-organizer of that Power BI Washington D.C. user group. Is that through Dynamic Communities?
So I'm actually a co-organizer of two meetups now.
Okay.
And one of them is through Doug. Um, so we have a Doug user group that we just kicked off, and we had our first session on Monday. And then we have the longstanding Power BI DC meetup, which is under Microsoft's Fabric umbrella of meetups. And that one has been active for multiple years now, but Leslie and I have been at the helm for almost 3 years together. We do
Okay.
events at least once a month, and many of them are in person, but we're also trying to balance that with having events online as well. And the Doug meetup I think of as an extension of that for me personally, but really beneficial for anyone who is Power BI as their home base, because the joke about Power BI is that it's polyamorous. It goes with everything, right? So
Awesome.
knowing enough about these different technologies and starting to get a toehold in not just Power BI, pure Power BI, but Power BI plus Fabric, Power BI plus Power Automate, Power Platform tools, of course, but all these dynamic tools, they all fit together really nicely. And I think integrating
Hmm.
and exploring those is a wonderful way for anyone that's on the data side to expand their potential and explore what's possible in the larger ecosystem.
Yep. And Lenore, you also have a, a a podcast of your own out there.
Yeah, been busy. I've been threatening to start a podcast for over a year now. We just started recording. We have 2 episodes recorded. The premise of the podcast is essentially an elaborate excuse for me to spend time with all these wonderful experts and enthusiasts in the community. So it's Power BI
Uh-huh.
Plus. And when I figure out podcatchers, it'll show up officially as Beautiful Nerds, the podcast. So that
Okay.
is coming soon to a podcatcher near you, and has been showing up as events on my personal feed for the past couple weeks. Basically, it follows on meetups presentations. So we're using that as a way to extend the conversation and really get into more depth about all these really exciting concepts in a non PowerPoint slide situation. So that's been a lot of fun and a great way to expand the overall understanding of these things in a less formal way.
LinkedIn with the title Three Ducks and a Unicorn.
That was the first episode. Yeah. So
Okay.
when
All right.
you keep catching me just as I'm getting my act together, Noah.
Yes.
So coming soon will be a dedicated page for that. According
Okay.
to LinkedIn, I can't have a page do live events until I have 100 followers. So I've been
Okay.
hosting the first couple just on my page. But the hope is to
Hmm.
fix that quickly and then have a page as well as have it on podcast catchers. So that it's not just showing up as 3 ducks and a unicorn record a podcast, which I imagine
Gotcha.
must be
Okay.
very confusing. But I should
But I
mention that's
love
a
that. I love the
reference to an
title.
event that happened at the Power BI days. It's not just a random thing I said.
Yep.
There were costumes. I would recommend checking out the episode if
Were
you
you a
like.
unicorn?
I was the unicorn. I was in a unicorn onesie.
Oh, okay.
Um, so just to clarify, because that probably sounds insane out of context, um, there was a big focus that we did this year on helping first-time speakers learn how to present, um, and get them comfortable. And we decided that we needed costumes. And the reason that we needed costumes was because way back in February, where we were talking to a couple of would-be speakers, um, I had a really great conversation with a couple of them where we just kind of we kept saying, why? What are the things that get in your way? Because we know you have great things you'd love to share, right? Um, and, there were things like, I don't know what I should talk about. I don't know if I'm expert enough. And we just kept being like, okay, so we'll find you a mentor. We'll help you come up with a topic. We'll workshop it together. We'll practice together. We did all that stuff.
Hmm.
But the last thing that was a big barrier for one of them was, I feel like no matter what I do, I'm going to embarrass myself behind the podium. And I thought, well, I can fix that. So what I said was, what if I can guarantee that no matter what happens while you're behind the podium, you won't be the most embarrassing person in the room because I'll be there in a unicorn onesie. And that's exactly what I did. And that
That
seemed to
is
help.
awesome mentorship.
But it got better because we
Okay.
sort it got better because one of the folks who is a speaker, Stevie Wilson, showed up as a gorilla in a gorilla onesie. And then out of nowhere, the 3 other folks who were on that podcast, Don Romito, John Kursky, and Leslie Welch, they got these inflatable duck costumes. And I didn't know they were going to get dressed up. So I'm presenting the first speaker and introducing them. And I see three relatively buttoned up people who are three of my favorite speakers come out waddling in these insane duck costumes. And I'm laughing my butt off. Nobody in the audience knows why I'm cackling like a witch. And eventually everybody turns around and sees these three folks in these crazy big inflatable duck costumes. And that's how we did the newbie speaker lightning talks. It was a great way to get people loosened up, to be sure.
Surely
Um,
you got some of that on video.
I don't know if we do. We definitely have some photos, but we should check around. So anyway, that's the
And this
backstory there.
that's awesome. I love it.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, hey, I'm hoping, I'm sure that you're going to have just as much fun down in Orlando with some and everybody else. So it's bound, you're bound to top yourself from that one.
Well, thank you. Will I see you there?
I am. I will be down. I'm coming in the Friday before because I'm scheduled to teach a class for Academy
Oh, how
that
exciting.
Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. So then that one, and then at least one other session during Summit days. So I'll be there the whole week.
Well, fantastic. I look forward to running
Yep.
into you.
I know. Yeah, it's great to education on all these Microsoft Dynamic products is great. It's a great feature of these conferences, but networking is another great feature. Getting to meet the people that you're talking with on the phone and the podcast and the emails
Totally.
and the
Yeah,
LinkedIn profiles, meeting those people in person really adds an extra level of networking. So yeah,
absolutely.
I'll be making my rounds. I have a lot of people I've done podcasts with about this conference, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really going to try to meet all of them in person because it's a lot of new people that I have never met in person.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great year. And it's always
Yep.
fun to have it in Orlando, right? Who doesn't like an excuse to visit Universal Studios or Disney World for a conference?
I agree, and it's a great little venue for the conference itself at the Gaylord Resort. Great
Oh,
complex,
yeah.
all under glass. Most of it's under glass, so
They have those
not
great
exposed to the
alligators in the
humid.
middle of the atrium.
They
It's
do. Have you
crazy.
fed them?
I haven't fed them. I've always meant to
Uh,
watch the feeding, but maybe this is my year.
yeah, there you go. Try to make that happen if you get a chance. It's just a really great complex resort. And they're gonna go for record numbers for attendance this year. It's great to see the bounce back from COVID days to have so many
Absolutely.
people register and going down to attend this conference. But it's a
Hmm.
very big conference venue, so you won't feel too crowded when everybody gets there. They're all on separate floors and different groups of products and such. So it's really well organized by the resort and Dynamic Communities.
Totally.
Well, hey, Lenore, thank you so much for joining me. It's always a great time talking with you on these little podcasts here. I've learned a lot already just in this short recording with you. And to all of our listeners out there, if you get a chance, if you get into Orlando and you're looking around meeting people, definitely look up Lenore and see if you can see her in the hallways. Go to her session. She's got 3 of those on that Monday. Meet her at the Tech Medic desk. It's always great to see people in person.
Absolutely.
So, yep. So, Lenore, thank you so much, and I will see you down in Orlando.
My pleasure, Noah. Look forward to seeing you in a couple months.